Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to the beta for The Guardians. Now my ship finally arrived and I just noticed on the livery screen here that there is a weapon colour modifier. Not anything we can use at the moment, but it looks like it's going to be another cosmetic purchase. Not bad. Now I've got the Type 9 here, bit heavy, bit bulky, but I'm going to fit some fighter hangars to it to see just how well it performs in the combat. Now there's two types of fighter hangars here, as you can see, the 5D and the 6D. The differences between these is pretty obvious. The 5D can only have one fighter, whereas the 6D can have two fighters. But it does take up a larger slot, so that's not going to be to everyone's preference in every case. Also curious as to whether there was going to be some larger fighter hangars at all. Unfortunately, at this station at least, 6D seems to be the largest. I'm not sure if that means it's largest full stop, or if it's just largest that was available here at the George Lucas station. So I went ahead and fitted the 6D hangar, thinking that it would be preferable to take two ships rather than just one. Now there are a different range of fighters that are available. At this station there was only one type, but it did have a variety of subsets. Now the new fighters that have been made available are the F-63 Condor, the Imperial Fighter and the Taipan that is here. Now you can see they have different outfittings here. The first two use fixed mounts, and to be honest I'm not all that good with those, and the other two use gimbaled weapons, so you've got a nice choice here, a good preference. The first gimbaled one there, that one right there, uses a beam, and I wanted to try that. But unfortunately that gave a server error, it wouldn't work. Tried it a number of times, it still wouldn't work, so ultimately I moved on to just equipping two pulse laser fighters. In the previous video you saw me hire a crew member. Well, here at the crew lounge I wanted to hire a few more. You can hire 3 in all, but you can only take one with you at any time. These can be used to pilot your main ship, or the mothership as the game calls it, or you can use them to deploy out in your fighter. They control your fighter remotely if you want to use them for that. And yep, if you want, you can also dismiss one of them if you no longer want to keep them on board. And this frees you up to have another crew member. Now these are only expert rated, and that's because my combat rating is currently expert. If you're elite rated, then you will be able to hire elite rated crew, but they will be a lot more expensive. And now I've assigned a crew member, it's time to head out. So there is a resource extraction site right nearby, and I'm going to deploy the fighter here. You can choose who wants to go out in the fighter, either yourself or your crew member, and I wasn't going to turn down the chance here. And I thought that was a really nice touch. The crew members are actually voiced. So only a few seconds here before I decided to turn around, and you can see just how fast these ships actually move. Look how far away I've already got from my Type 9. I must say it feels really strange to see my ship being piloted by an NPC crew member flying around on its own there, when normally it would be me doing all of that. Leaving it in the hands of someone I neither know nor necessarily trust yet. The rebuy cost of this ship is fairly expensive, but this is beta at the moment, so I really don't mind that. Just how well this crew member can handle the ship remains to be seen, and of course it's not a combat ship, but I've come out here in the Type 9 for a reason, and will return in a more combat focused ship a little later. The ship loadout I've actually chosen here does have the weakest of all the weapons. That's a bit unfortunate because I wanted to see just how much of a punch these ships actually have. So here I am keeping in front of the adder there. Wanted to see as well how long this can hold up to an attack. The adder of course is a lowly ship, but I still wanted to see just how much damage it was capable of doing to the Taipan fighter here. And for now my Type 9 is keeping well out of the combat. As you see the adder turning round, it starts firing its guns at me, and the shields do strip away quite fast, and already my hull is significantly gone. The handy thing with these fighters though is that they are very nimble and very fast, so it's all too easy to keep right behind your target. So you can also issue commands to your mothership. You can tell it a variety of things, to just simply follow you, to hold its position, or you can put it into aggressive mode, or even tell it to attack your target. All those commands can be accessed through the roles panel, which you see me using for the most part of this video, but you can also bind all those commands to hotkeys, which I do near the end of this video. There does seem to be a very strange issue at the moment. I don't know if it's unique to me, but I will probably submit it as a bug. But my Type 9 at this point has been declared as wanted. But you can see that I am not wanted, so I don't quite know why that happened. And if I check my transaction panel, I didn't have any bounties on me listed there either. As I turn around to face my Type 9 in just a moment, you'll see that it is now under attack. And it hasn't let me know about that either, so I'm pretty sure this is a bug of some type, as the ship doesn't even try and return fire or get out of the area. Now, there would be one more command I would like to see here, and that would simply be to send my ship out of the area and into a hyper jump. There's no way to tell your ship to retreat basically, and just look at this, it's just sitting there being completely mullered. And as I said right early on, it's got a fairly expensive rebuy cost relative to the amount of money I've actually got in my pocket at the moment, and it's not doing anything at all, so not the best of NPC behaviour just there. And now I'm under attack here, and at this point, well, my crew member's going to die as well. As usual, we the players go back to the rebuy screen and will respawn at a station, but that's not going to happen to any NPC crew members you have. You can spend a lot of time leveling them up, but if they get caught in a ship like that in the mothership, then they will actually die. It's bound to happen, but preferably it's not going to happen due to problems like that. At any rate, I returned to another extraction site, this time with a federal gunship. The patch notes reference graphics improvements to all of these areas near planets near rings, and in particular asteroids ring systems, and that is very much apparent. They looked really nice in patch 2.1, and they look even better here in patch 2.2. So here I am, about to deploy the fighter under its own power this time, being controlled, there you go, being controlled by my NPC pilot. So it's time to take a look to see if we can find anyone to go and attack. I should have probably spent some time going to look for some hazardous extraction sites or some high intensity ones, because here there's a lot of low level ships, but still well worth having a look. The fighters do seem to be a very nice addition to the game, and I think they're really going to dramatically change the dynamics of the game, in particular with PvP, although to be honest I'm a little bit concerned how they're going to affect with non-Horizons players versus Horizons players. The NPC was a little bit slow off the mark there. I actually made it to the target well before they did, even though the fighters are very fast ships. Again, here you can see the commands panel, and at any time you like you can switch roles, switching you from the mothership to your fighter and vice versa, as many times as you want, whenever you want. I have a feeling that these fighters are going to become very important pretty much for everyone, but in particular for explorers out there in the depth of space where they're on their own and they don't have any backup. Unfortunately though, they cannot be used with ASPs or other ships of that size. Here then is the control bindings panel, and I've bound a few of these controls to my HOTAS, and that really does pick up the pace of the combat quite significantly. So this area turned out to be very light on combat, which in many ways was just as well, because I'm simply demonstrating how these functions work at the moment, and later on I'll return to have a look at just how effective these fighters are in the depths of combat. So here you can see the fighter attacking the Eagle on its own, and I decided to leave her to do her job, and just look how nimble she is, how quick she gets around to the rear end of that Eagle there. Unfortunately, she doesn't seem to be doing too much damage to it, slowly chipping away one ring and then slowly working on the next ring. Down there on the bottom left of my UI, you can see my fighter's shield and hull. Now keep in mind that she's only an expert fighter, not much better than me to be perfectly honest, but she's doing a remarkable job of holding off the damage being dealt by the rather lowly Eagle there. But unfortunately she's not packing too much of a punch. What's going to be really interesting is when we get to see the higher level fighters out there, and there are plenty of people who are already elite ranked in combat and could probably better demonstrate that. So whilst she isn't really doing too much of a job on the Eagle there, what she is very effectively doing is keeping its focus away from me. And this could be a very useful function for these fighters when you're out here in a ship that isn't heavily combat orientated. Maybe you're out here doing a bit of trading, or maybe you're in one of these ring systems doing a bit of mining. In those cases, the fighters keeping the enemy off of you and the pirates off your back just for a few seconds could make a world of difference. And bringing them home really is a nice touch. As usual with Elite, everything realised in full detail. So there's my first initial look at ship-launched fighters. I'll be back later to see just how well they perform under duress. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. And in case you were wondering, this is what it's like to dock the ship yourself.